Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Hello, this is Swazi Rodgers and you're listening to Something for the Weekend. Now, this time last week, I came into the studio before the Bollywood movie night, which was a fundraiser for St Peter's and St James's Hospice. And I thought, right, I'm going to record a show and then I can get that done and then I can go upstairs and I can get the food and everything sorted for the Bollywood movie night and I can get changed and put on my Bollywood bling and all the rest of it. So I sat here and cheerfully played music and chatted for 50 minutes and then looked up at the screen and realised that not a single thing had been recorded that I'd been saying. So I'm hoping that the same user error is not going to occur today. I'm valiantly hoping against hope that that's not going to happen. So I've got cracking music planned for you. I've got loads of stuff to tell you about. So, you know, get ready. Get yourself a drink. Get yourself a snack. If it was me, when I'm having some quiet time to myself and I'm watching an episode of The Crown, this is what I do now because all of my series have ended. Billions has ended, Scandal's ended, Homeland has ended. There's nothing for me to watch on a series because I used to kind of record all this stuff and then save it up. Although The Affair is starting again, it's coming back. So I'm really excited about that, although the last series was V Pur. So I have got loads of episodes of Hawaii Five-0, but I need to be in the mood to watch people people with perfect bodies on the beach. And I haven't been in the mood for that recently. So what I do is I go upstairs with a big mug of tea and a chocolate bar, if I'm eating chocolate, and I lie in bed and I watch an episode of The Crown. It just cheers me up. I know it's a bit sad, isn't it? I'm not. I'm not a royalist and neither am I a Republican. I'm an indifferent. So I'm loving The Crown though. It's just, it's like a soap. It's brilliant. I'm not here to advertise shows that are on Netflix or anything else, but I am thoroughly enjoying that. So that's what I do when I'm relaxing. What I'm asking you to do in order to relax is get yourself a drink and snack of your choice and pop headphones on if you're in a public place or turn the sound up if you're not, if you are in a private space or if you're at home, and enjoy the next hour of music and inane chat and whatever else, and spend some time with me. If you want to engage on social media, I'm on Twitter at Swazi Rodgers, SwaziRodgers. I'm also on Instagram, exactly the same. And I'm on Facebook, Swazi Radio DJ. Radio Lewes is also on Instagram and Twitter. And we're also on, I believe we're on Facebook as Ollie Oyster. I'm not sure. I'll check that. But to start with, a bit of Florence.
Happiness hit her like a train on a track, coming towards her, stuck still, no turning back. She hid around corners and she hid under beds. Killed it with kisses, and from it she fled.
fantastic Florence and the Machine and Dog Days Are Over, which is on my kind of sort of Bollywood playlist. We showed Gubby Cushy Gubby Gum last week, which means sometimes tears, sometimes laughter. Sometimes laughter, sometimes happiness, sometimes tears, sometimes joy, sometimes tears. That was the translation on the subtitles on the film. I've been saying sometimes happiness, sometimes sadness, but that was what they said, so obviously they know what they're talking about. And it was, the screening, it was quite quiet, not hugely attended, but, there were loads of other things going on. And also, I think a lot of people didn't know it was happening, but we will show it again. I think it's a fantastic film. I'd forgotten how fantastic a film is. And also, it speaks to me personally. I mean, I think a good film is one that really connects with you on an emotional level. And I think this one connects with me for lots of reasons, and some that I didn't even know at the time. Now, this film came out 16 years ago, but it's got a very traditional, old-fashioned story of a family splitting and then, reuniting because of the choice of girl that the son makes. So there's all sorts of parallels in the story with my life. There's also the parallel that, one of their children is adopted and one of the children is their own, and there's this whole thing about, whether or not he feels as loved as the other. And there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of kind of very emotive stuff in there. There are also some amazing scenes, some brilliant choreography, some fantastic songs, and it's quite bonkers, really. As a film, it's quite bonkers. But I've never seen a film in the chapel before, and I was really amazed at how the size of the screen, the quality, and just watching a film from the pews upstairs is just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So it's a great venue. If you ever get a chance, if you ever want to use it for a movie night, I'm sure you can get in touch and ask us, and we'd be able to do that for you. I'm mucking. If you can hear me mucking about here. Hubby went to a conference this week and he picked up loads of stuff for me, and one of them was this set of special lenses to use with a phone. And it's a Lens Pro kit. So there's a wide angle, a macro and a fisheye lens, protective lens caps, a travel case and an instruction sheet. So you get a wide-angle lens to expand the field of view by 25%. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, then do, because at the moment I'm posting all sorts of stuff about my training for half marathon. And I'm doing the Royal Parks half marathon in October to continue my support for Macmillan Cancer Research, Cancer Support, who provided support and care for so many people that I've loved and lost. Soraya, who we very unexpectedly and sadly suddenly lost in January. A lovely family member called Jackie. They were both cared for by Macmillan. My husband's childhood friend Helen, who was cared for by Macmillan nurses towards the end of her life. And so many other people. One of my best friends' father, Michael, was cared for by Macmillan nurses as well. So many people we know have been cared for by Macmillan, and they provide the most amazing support and kindness and service for people with cancer and for their family members. And one of the things that I was really touched by when I said in January that I was going to do this. So basically I decided in January, when Soraya died, I just thought I need to do something. I'm going to cut off my hair, which don't ask me why, I just did. And so I donated the hair to Little Princess Trust so that they, again, double bubble, the money for Macmillan and the hair goes to make wigs for children with suffering hair loss due to cancer. So we managed to do that. And I shared this with Macmillan on Twitter, and they got in contact with me and they said, thank you so much for doing the fundraising. Is there anything we can do to support you? And I just thought that was amazing, that they, even in that moment, were thinking about my grief, as well as, being really supportive in that way. So, they said, remember, we've got a helpline if you need any support. And that is exactly why I think Macmillan are just so amazing and much needed. And so I will continue to support them. They very kindly also did a photo shoot of my getting my hair cut off. And one of the images, or some of the images, are going to be used in their fundraising pack. So I will feature on some of the booklets and stuff that gets sent out to people, which I think is a lovely legacy for Soraya, because they've also asked me to share the story of why I chose to do it. So that's been lovely. If anything good can come out of grief and loss, I think that's possibly one of the things. So the next thing I'm doing is Royal Park. So having much shorter hair has very few, well, no, I say very few advantages. In the beginning, every time I looked in the mirror, people kept saying, do you love your hair short? Oh, it looks amazing. It really suits you, which is lovely and very kind. But every time I saw myself in the mirror, I just saw the reason why I'd done it. And I felt very sad. And I felt grief all over again. And over a period of time, that's quite self-indulgent. I know it is very self-indulgent. It's kind of me. But I've now got to the point where I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that it takes me 2 minutes to have a shower and wash my hair in the morning, which is great because I get up ridiculously early to go to work. So I get up and I wash my hair. And if I go for a run at lunchtime, I can have a shower and wash my hair and be straight back at my desk in under an hour. So that's been fantastic. Putting headphones on when I'm in the studio in here has been much easier now that I've got very little hair to worry about. The only thing I haven't got the hang of is glasses and having my hair short. I don't know whether to put my glasses over my hair or under. This is very minor stuff, let's be honest. With all the things that are going on in the world, none of this is earth-shatteringly important stuff, I'll be honest with you. So, in the bigger picture, no one's going to be going, do you know what, Swaz, that's a really serious problem you've got there. But anyway, the point was Royal Parks. So I've been taking photographs of my training. Now, my official training programme starts on Monday. I don't know when you're listening to this, but Monday, the 25th of June is when my official training programme starts. So you can follow me on Instagram and you can see the various different training things that I'm doing. So my training includes running, swimming, club-a-size, lots of walking, and also diet and nutrition. So Friday night, went out with a few of the mums from school, and I'd said to my husband, I probably won't be out very late. I'm not going to be drinking. So I'm 3 hours and 2 bottles of pink fizz later, I come rolling home. I don't drink that often, and it doesn't take very much. And I do like Prosecco, and I do like fizz, and it's lovely, and I can drink a lot of it before I realise that it's all gone to my head. Thankfully, I was eating. This time in the past, I have had too much fizz and not had anything to eat, and that's not a good combination. And I was sort of rolling home on Friday night. So at the time of recording, I'm at the tail end of what we will call a hangover. I'd realised I'd got old when my hangover started the night I was drinking. So I would finish drinking and my hangover would start. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing. But thankfully I'm not driving. I haven't been driving today, so that's great. But my regime will involve eating sensibly, not drinking alcohol, and following the plan to the letter, because I respond well to things like a structured plan when it comes to training for an event. So I will be sharing links to that. People were so generous in donating to my initial efforts for Macmillan that I'm not pushing the fundraising, but I am definitely promoting the much more of the, what Macmillan do and why their work is so important side of things, because I think that's incredibly important to let people know. And if people do want to donate again, then that's fantastic. And I will be telling you about another fundraising event which you can support after I play you this. Now, we're going to the Eden Projects in a couple of weeks to go and see Bjork, who's only playing 2 gigs in this country this year. And one of them was All Points East, which she did a few weeks ago. And the other is the Eden Project. So we've been fortunate enough to get tickets to go and see that. Looking forward to it muchly. We've previously been to the Eden sessions to see these guys, and they were amazing. It absolutely chucked it down with rain. But the Manic Street Preachers held their own. Even though there was a danger of them slipping and sliding off the stage. Love the Manics, have seen them many times, and everything by the Manics is wonderful. But this is the one that I'm going to choose today.
things I wanna see, but it don't come easy. I love you all the same, but you stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from. You stole the sun from. Think I'm lost among the undergrowth. So much so I woke up by. I love you all the same, but you stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from my heart. You stole the sun from. You stole the sun from. I have gotta stop smiling. It gives the wrong impression. I love you all the same.
How could you not love James Dean Bradfield? Wonderful. My brother went to Cardiff Uni, and he insists, I don't know how true this is, that James Dean Bradfield used to play, he just used to like pitch up at a pub in Cardiff and bring his guitar and just turn up and play. I love that. I love the idea that you could just go to a pub in Cardiff and randomly hear James Dean Bradfield playing. Wonderful. I've just been mucking about with all these fun lenses for my camera on my phone. Thoroughly enjoying that. So I'm going to share those on Instagram. You can have a look at them and laugh and point if you really want to. So yeah, the point was I was telling you about my training and how I've been posting it on Instagram. And you can follow me on Instagram at Swazi Rodgers, and I can share my pictures of my trainers with you. If you're really that interested in pictures of my trainers, you might not be. And getting used to the whole idea of posting not of myself. I mean, I post myself when I'm in the studio, but I don't post of myself when I'm running. I don't think people really want to see me, sweaty or, just looking a mess, really. So I don't post of me when I'm training, but I do post lots of other stuff. Instagram, we have a Instagram address for Radio Lewes as well. So you can follow Radio Lewes, you can follow me, and you can see what I'm up to. I promised you some more information about other fundraising things that are going on. Now, as you probably know, because I have not stopped going on about it, we were fundraising for St Peter and St James's Hospice when we had our Bollywood night the other night. Part of this is because of a family friend or a friend's family who have been fundraising for Fund a Day, a hospice day. And it's about, I think, £7,700 to fund a day at the hospice. And they've done that already this year in memory of their father who died last year. And they're funding another day. So one of the things that they're doing for that is a family fun day, which you can go to. And it's next Sunday. I don't know when you're listening to this. I hope you're listening to this before it's happened. It's on the 1st of July. It's at Max Farm in Ditchling. Tickets are £5. If you book them on Eventbrite, it's £5.83, but kids go free. Max Farm, Organic Egg Farm and Campsite, Ditchling. You can see the map on the Eventbrite page. It's from 2:30 to 7:30. And all the proceeds are going to the hospice. So the hospice will be there as well. And they're going to be raising funds. Now, part of the reason for this is to do with the trek. The hospice are running a trek in Morocco to raise funds. you probably remember at Easter I mentioned it, and I mentioned how I had I'd spoken to John about this, John at Radio Lewes, and said, I'm thinking of doing the trek and doing a few events at Radio Lewes to help with fundraising for it. And for reasons, I'm not doing the trek, but I am still going to do some fundraising. So I thought I will do that, and I will concentrate my efforts on the stuff I'm doing for Macmillan. Personally, that's my challenge. The reason being that running a half marathon is genuinely a challenge for me. And while I would have enjoyed going on a trek, I think I would have felt a bit cheeky asking people to sponsor me to go for a trek, which I would enjoy very much. Whereas running a half marathon, not entirely sure I'm going to enjoy it. So, but you can go along to the Family Fun Day, and they're calling it a good old-fashioned Family Fun Day. The Saucy Flapdragons are going to be performing. If you've not seen them before, you're in for a treat. And there's going to be food and music and fun and games and all the rest of it. So if you can get down to Ditchling next Sunday, 1st of July, and the ticket price is obviously going to go towards the funding, but also you can, I'm sure they'll be passing a bucket round where you can make some donations as well. And you can help fund a day at the hospice for them as well. I think that's everything. I'm losing the capacity to speak English, which is a bit of a disadvantage when you're trying to present on the radio. It's quite difficult. So, yes, it's £7,200 to fund the hospice for a day. So they already managed to pay for a day on the 13th of April this year, which would have been David Heyman's 86th birthday. And he was looked after by the team at the hospice when he passed away last year in August, and so the trek is taking place in August of this year, which is a kind of very sad but also very poignant time to kind of have the memorial kind of thing for him. So if you want to support the hospice, this is a great way of doing it because it goes into a particular fund a day pot. But of course, anything you can do to support a local cause, we will help you promote it and support you in doing that, because that's the whole point of community radio, isn't it? To help support and bring information to people. That's what I think it's about anyway. That's the purpose of community radio, to kind of share stuff. So there you go. That's my PSA about community. That's what I'm doing. Now, I told you that I've been enjoying listening to some great music recently. I've rediscovered the joy of putting on headphones and shutting out the world, because I looked around on the train the other day when I was travelling to work. I looked around and I realised everybody was on their phone. Everybody was looking down and staring at their phone and scrolling. And I've forgotten the simple joy of looking out of the window and just watching the world go by and listening to music. So I started doing that again. And I used to, when I commuted to work, ring Soraya and we would have a chat. We would talk about nothing and everything. And it was great and I loved it. And it was possibly the only time that we ever got to speak. But what I do now is I listen to music, and I listen to music I haven't heard before, or I listen to music that I love, and it's given me an opportunity to really spend time with some sounds that I'm enjoying. And this is one that I'm preparing for another movie night, which is at my son's school next week. Is it next week? Goodness me, is it next week? It's 2 weeks' time. And we're going to be showing Paddington 2, which is brilliant, by the way, if you haven't seen it, and a movie I haven't seen called The Greatest Showman. And this song has just been everywhere. It's absolutely exploded. And I'm loving this at the moment. This for me is working when I'm playing it very loud on my headphones, but also this is one that has made it onto my running podcast, my running kind of playlist. It's very motivational and hugely emotional as well. It's one of those kind of power anthems. So if you need a bit of a boost, turn the sound up, maybe pop some headphones on for the sake of being kind to other people, and just, give it the full emotion.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me.
If you weren't shouting along with that and really, getting your empowerment on, then what were you doing? Honestly, you got to get with the programme. It's amazing. I was loving that. Loving it. Loving it like that. Oh, I've completely lost the plot. Now, I want to tell you about something that's happening in Lewes that you might be interested in. If you have an interest in martial arts and you want to join in, 2 times Taekwondo world champion Michelle Cavellin is looking to recruit more adult males to her current class at the YMCA in Westgate Street. They train on Thursdays, 7 to 8:30pm. Taekwondo is incredibly varied, so has something for everyone. There's fitness, self-defence, you can go for belts. There are patterns, sparring, tournaments and flexibility, confidence and camaraderie. They are a very welcoming club and accept people of all backgrounds and levels. They're not averse to anyone joining, but are particularly underrepresented in the male adult level, and they would like to keep their demographic diverse. You can just turn up and have a free lesson, or you can Google Lewes Taekwondo and contact Michelle to let her know you're coming. Thank you very much, Michelle, for getting in contact with me to ask me to promote that for you. I really hope that you get some interest and that you get a few people come through. Now, I've been mucking about with the lenses. My husband has collected some lenses for my phone. Because I use my phone for taking photos for Instagram and for blog posts, he said, I thought you might like these. And one is a fisheye lens and one is a magnifying lens, and they're hilarious. So I will be sharing the photos in various places. You can see them, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun for me. I don't know if it'll be fun for you, but it's certainly going to be fun for me to muck about and play around with them. And you can see my experiments with different types of lenses. And this week, I don't know when you're listening, but last week for me, I had one of those weeks where lots of really amazingly good, fortunate things happened. And one of them was that somebody couldn't go to a gig, so they asked if somebody else wanted a ticket. So I got the ticket, met her on the platform of Clapham Junction Station, and sure enough, that evening I went to see David Byrne at Hammersmith Apollo. And I have loved Talking Heads for a long time, loved David Byrne in particular, and wanted to see him and didn't think I ever would get the chance. It's one of those things where you just sort of think, well, if I do, I do. If I don't, I'll live with it. It's not, the end of the world. But I'm so glad I did go and see him because he was just astoundingly good. So good. And all the musicians on the stage were playing everything. Everything you heard was played live in the moment. And it was just great because we're so used to hearing things that have been produced and pre-recorded and then they kind of sing over it, which is lovely because quite a lot is live. But as he said, none of this is mimed. None of this is pre-recorded. Everything is what you're hearing and seeing here. And it's a moment in time, isn't it? Because that will not be replicated the next night and it won't be the same as it was the night before. So it was just a really wonderful, an entrancing stage show. I mean, from the very beginning where the whole set just rises out of the floor, it's just, it was wonderful. When you go to a really, really great gig and it just stays with you and you just remember the feeling of that great gig, that was just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And being a shorty, and that was quite surprising because I'm very short and I often have the view of people's backs in front of me. And actually there were a load of lads who were there who'd already clearly been in the bar for quite a long time. And they said, do you want to stand in front of us so you can see? Because you can't see past us. And I just thought that was the kindest thing. And it hasn't happened since I was at uni, but it was that kind of crowd. People were just having a great time. There was, no bad feeling. It was just people were really pleased to be there. And I loved that. I just thought that was a really nice feeling. So I'm going to play, having said all that, I'm now going to play you Psycho Killer.
My bed's on fire. Don't touch me, I'm a real live wire. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better run, 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 run away. Oh, psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better. Why say it again? Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better run, 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 run away. Oh, oh, oh. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Better run, 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 run away. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure he played that on Wednesday night, but everything he played was great. Everything he played was great. So, yeah. Now, this next bit I'm telling you about is on the spectrum of things. It is at the humble brag end of things. So I'm telling you that now, so that if you want to skip this bit to go and put the kettle on, you can do. So basically, Caitlin Moran is doing a live show at the moment called How to Be Famous, and as it says in the description, there's no Glastonbury this year, so Caitlin thought she'd put on her own version, but bring it a bit closer to your home, so you don't have to get on a coach on Muddy Monday, covered in mud, hungover, and do a 154-mile journey, quietly being sick into your rucksack. Yes, she's on tour again. Open the bars in venues across the UK. Just like Glastonbury, it's a chance to dress up, gather together in a place with like-minded people and spend a while both laughing your head off on cider and having deep discussions about how to change the world in the best way possible. She's going to be talking about heroes, who the best famous people are, and how to deal with it when they're problematic. The video to Charlie's XCX Boys Why the Stone Rihanna Keeps Gaining and Losing is awesome and normal, why bad boys have had their day, the best ways to be sad, how to tell if it was just a regrettable shag or hashtag me too, hashtag time's up, the forthcoming film of How to Build a Girl, and why we're on the verge of a lady revolution. Everyone does a shot every time she says strident feminism. Let's do this. Caitlin Moran will be in conversation with Sally Hughes. She's the resident beauty columnist for Guardian Weekend magazine and a features and comment writer for the range of magazines, including Red, Grazia, Elle, The Pool and Stylist. She's also a regular contributor to Radio 5 Live and BBC 4 Women's Hour. A copy of Caitlin Moran's new book, How to Be Famous, is included with every ticket, and books will be available for collection from the on-site bookshop on the night, and Caitlin will be signing after the event. Now, the reason I'm telling you about this is because Caitlin's going to be in Brighton on Friday. She's going to be at All Saints Church. She's not going to be in Brighton, she's going to be in Hove. It's been advertised as Brighton, but it's actually in Hove. So Friday the 29th of June, 7:30 to 8:45. Now, the reason why it's a humble brag is because it's sold out. Now, I was debating, I was sort of back and forth and debating whether to go to this for weeks. And then by the time I then decided, well, sod it, I'll go, the tickets had gone. And so I'd kind of missed my chance. I thought, okay, well, I've missed it. It's fine. Doesn't matter. And it didn't matter. It's not the end of the world. It's just a gig. The only thing that is annoying is if you're waiting on other people, you sort of say, oh, would you like to go and see this show? And I prefer if someone just says no. That's fine, because then I can move on. But if someone goes, oh, well, I don't know, I'll let you know, or just doesn't reply, then you're left waiting. And actually what I should do is just go, okay, well, I'm going to make a decision for myself. So I thought, that's it, I've missed out. And then I found out she was doing a show in London at the South Bank Centre. And my husband, who is the greatest man alive, I think it's fair to say, said, well, I'll get you a ticket for your birthday. So lo and behold, on Tuesday, I shall be going to see Caitlin Moran at the South Bank Centre and getting a copy of her new book. So that's why it's not even a humble brag. That's just an out and out brag, isn't it? There's nothing humble about that whatsoever. So you're hating me right now, aren't you? I can feel it. I can feel your hatred coming through the airwaves. So I'm going to dissipate that hatred by playing you a fantastic song, which will make you like me again. And we will be friends again, won't we? I hope. Will we be friends again if I play you a great song? We must be. That's how it works, isn't it? It's got to be how it works. I always imagine that if Caitlin Moran was a singer, this is how she would sound.
Thursday night, everything's fine, except you've got that look in your eye when I'm telling a story and you find it boring. You're thinking of something to say, you'll go along with it, then drop it and humiliate me in front of our friends. Then I'll use that voice that you find annoying and say something like, yeah, intelligent input, darling, why don't you just have another beer then? Then you'll call me up and everyone we're with will be embarrassed and I won't give a sh. My fingertips are holding onto the cracks in our foundation, and I know that I should let go, but I can't. And every time we fight, I know it's not right. Every time that you're upset and I smile, I know I should must eat so many lemons, 'cause I am so bitter. I said I'd rather be with your friends, mate, 'cause they are much fitter. Yes, it was childish and you got aggressive, and I must admit that I was a bit scared, but it gives me thrills to wind you up. My fingertips are holding onto the cracks in our foundation, and I know that I should let go, but I can't. And every time we fight, I know it's not right. Every time that you're upset and I smile, I know I should forget, but I can't. Well, I'll leave you there till the morning, and I purposely won't turn the heating on. And dear God, I hope I'm not stuck with this one. My fingertips are holding onto the cracks in our foundation, and I know that I should let go, but I can't. And every time we fight, I know it's not right. Every time that you're upset and I smile, I know I should forget, but I can't. And every time we fight, I know it's not right. Every time that you're upset and I smile, I know I should forget, but I can't. And every time we fight, I know it's not right. Every time that you're upset and I smile, I know I should forget, but I can't.
Kate Nash. Do you get what I mean? That whole kind of, talking, singing as you talk style. I heard her on the radio the other day. She was talking about how she took up boxing. She'd had a fairly sharp downturn in her career and was dropped by her record label, and sort of went her own way and did her own thing for a while. And I loved Kate Nash. I love Kate Nash. I'm not love. We saw her at the Ben & Jerry's Big Sunday years ago. This was at the, when she was everywhere. She had the lovely yellow dress and was playing the piano and was promoting that album a lot. And she was great and was everywhere, and then sort of went away for a while. And it was really nice to hear her on talking again and kind of, recording music again. And I liked the fact that she addressed some of that behaviour. We're kind of, there's a lot of talk now about post-feminism and kind of, intersectionality and a lot of that stuff. And there's been a big backlash against all the Me Too stuff. But in reality, it's always gone on. This has always happened. And to have musicians talking about it, I mean, this is why I'm a big fan, a big promoter of empowering music, if you like, because I think music can be such a force for good. If you do, one of the things that I've been talking about a lot on my blog and also just generally has been about mental health and how we can take back responsibility for our mental health and help ourselves in a lot of ways. And one of the big things I find is music is a big therapeutic thing for me in supporting my mental health and helping me take care of myself. And I've talked a lot more openly and honestly about anxiety. I've talked about depression a lot in the past, but anxiety is something I haven't really talked about very much. And things like PTSD, which is, I don't really have a lot of understanding about PTSD, but I think anxiety is one of the kind of overhangs from that. And so I've been sharing more about how anxiety manifests for me and the things that I do to help myself. So at the moment, I'm keeping my anxiety in check. I think pretty well. I think I've done okay with it. And music has been a big part of that. And one of the things that Kate was talking about was her experiences of mental health and some of the things that she struggled with. And one of the support things that I've been connecting with is the Frazzled Cafes, which Ruby Wax started these. And Frazzled Cafes they're hosted in Marks and Spencer's. So Marks and Spencer's provide the space. And a Frazzled Cafe is essentially a space where you can go and you can just talk to other people about how you're feeling frazzled, and you say as little or as much as you want to. It's a registered charity, operates with the purpose of providing a safe, anonymous and non-judgmental environment where people who are feeling frazzled can meet on a regular basis to talk and share their personal stories. Frazzle Cafe is not just for the 1 in 4 of us who will suffer from diagnosed mental illness at some point in our lives. It's for the 4 in 4 feeling frazzled and overwhelmed by the stresses of modern life. With the support of Marks and Spencer's, currently running fortnightly Frazzle Cafe meetings in Brighton, Cambridge, Leeds, Liverpool, London, Newcastle, Norwich and Woolstanton in Staffordshire. So you can sign up by going to frazzlecafe.org. The Brighton meetings are held, as it says, in the Marks and Spencer's, and you just go along. You must book in to go. You can't just turn up. So you do have to register to attend, and they're kept quite small. It's a registered charity, so all donations are greatly appreciated and go towards running and growing the Frazzled Cafe across the UK. And I'm hoping that they're going to open a cafe in Croydon as well, which is where I am. And the idea that you can find a space where, and this is not about medical intervention, this is about a space where you can talk about it. I'm very fortunate in that I have a select group of people who I can talk about it with. I've learned the hard way that there are people who I can't talk about it with. There are people who, by telling them about it, they run a mile in the other direction. And to be honest, good riddance. You know, if you only want to know me when I'm happy and smiling and when I'm doing things for you, then, you know, I don't need you. If you're not in my life for the bits when I'm struggling, then maybe we don't need to be in each other's lives. And I've learnt that with friends, that there are friends who only want to know you when they're struggling, and they have no interest in supporting you when you're struggling. And that's fine. That's their thing. And I'm not going to not be there for them, but when I need help, I'm going to go to the people that I can talk to. And I know who those people are. There are a lot of people who don't have that support. There are people who are embarrassed or ashamed to talk to anyone about how they're feeling and how they may be struggling, or and the word frazzled is a great word, because it's not saying that you're mentally ill. It's saying this is really, I'm feeling frazzled. You know, whatever that is, I'm feeling frazzled, and I need to just put it out there, and I need someone to just listen and to not judge me. And I think the Frazzle Cafe is a great idea. So if you want to connect with that, frazzlecafe.org, and you can register to go along to one of the cafes in Brighton. And they're looking into opening more and more all the time. They are at the moment only doing them with the support of Marks and Spencer's, so they're only hosted in Marks and Spencer's cafes. They're not engaging with, you know, other people who want to kind of open one in their cafe. That's not how it works. So if you want to do that, then please do. I'm advocating a lot for supporting people's mental health needs, because I just think it is so important. It's so important that we help each other and ourselves. And, you know, everyone will be happy and nice and cheerful if we do that. That's my idea anyway. I don't know if it works like that. So nearly coming to the end of the show, and I'm going to play a record that I love from an artist who I love, Corinne Bailey Ray, who has had, very tragically, her husband died quite early on in her career, and I think people associated that with being, you know, that kind of cast a cloud over her career for a while. But she's very incredibly talented and continues to perform and work and make great music. This is from her first album, and it's one of the ones that I loved because this for me just says summer, sunshine, relaxing in the garden with a lovely cold drink.
3 little birds sat on my window, and they told me I don't need to worry. Summer came like cinnamon, so sweet. Little girls double dutch on the concrete. Maybe sometime hesitate. Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Blue as the sky, sunburned and lonely, sipping tea in a bar by the roadside. Just relax, just relax. Don't you let those other boys fool you. Gotta love that afro hairdo. Maybe sometimes we feel afraid, but it's alright. The more you stay the same, the more they seem to change. Don't you think it's strange? Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. 'Twas more than I could take. Pity for pity's sake. Some nights kept me awake. I thought that I was stronger. When you gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer. Do what you want to. Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. Ooh, you're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow.
So beautiful. Now, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to play. This is going to take us over the hour, but that's okay, isn't it? You don't mind. I'm going to play you one more, which is kind of like, this is going to be my anthem for the time being. I know this is me as my anthem, but I've got another one that I'm just going to play for you, which I think is just great. And I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for listening. I will be with you again. I don't know when, because after my debacle last week of not being able to record the show, I've lost faith in my capacity to do this now. I don't know if I know what I'm doing anymore. So I'm hoping that I'll be with you again before too long. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't heard Saturday Live for this week, that's available on podcast. Do have a listen. If you can get down to the Family Fun Day on the 1st of July, please do. Support St Peter and St James's Hospice. If you can get to the Taekwondo, go to that. And yeah, I think we should get ready for the good life.
Baby, give me diamonds, give me gold. Take the pain away from in my soul. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, I'm ready for the good life. Hey, 'cause I've been slaving
right or wrong.